Louisiana's Board of Elementary and Secondary Education also met this week, and among its numerous items of business, the board approved new rules for the licensing of private schools. Southern Ed Desk reporter Sue Lincoln takes a closer look at the issue.
Conquering Word Christian Academy currently has two schools in the New Orleans area, one in Marrero, the other in New Orleans East. Both accept state scholarship, also known as voucher, students. Carolyn Trudeau, the director of the schools, wants to license and open a third location.
The demand is more for scholarship students to leave public schools that are failing and come over to choice.
Trudeau says right now she's a bit frustrated having applied for a third school license in July and still waiting for an answer. Shortly after receiving new applications, the Louisiana Department of Education decided to start revising the private school licensing rules. State Superintendent John White explains there are taxpayer-supported benefits private schools get once they receive state approval.
They receive, number one, textbook funding that's currently in the amount of $27 per child, which has been a decades-long entitlement. Second, they are become eligible for transportation support by way of the school district in their parish. And third, their students become eligible to receive TOPS upon graduating, having received a Louisiana diploma.
But White also says the licensing rules that the state has been using are cumbersome for schools.
When we request large amounts of paperwork, which is currently what's required in our process, we are taking time away from students.
The Board of Elementary and Secondary Education has agreed to give private and parochial schools that have been accredited by SACS, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, or by NAIS, the National Association of Independent Schools, a 5-year state license. They are also changing the process for non-accredited schools.
If you receive an accreditation, but it is not an accreditation affiliated with those groups, or if you are not accredited at all, you fill out an online survey.
White says the survey will ask about currently preferred methods of education, rather than some of the archaic information the state had been requesting.
Not a question of your old library plan, not a file folder full of transcripts from your teachers, but best instructional practices in the area of the qualifications of your leader, the mission and the mission of your school, the instructional practices regarding teacher development, practices around student assessment, and practices around constant improvement in the school.
The board took public comment on the proposed revisions. Louisiana Association of Christian Schools President Peter Barnes, headmaster at Baton Rouge's Christian Life Academy, which is SACS accredited, says his group doesn't believe the state's licensing process for any of the private schools is thorough enough.
We have never in 10 years had a site visit by the state. We have never been audited by the state. Our state report has never been reviewed or called into question. However, during that same 10-year period, I have hosted 2 SACS accreditation reviews.
Louisiana Federation of Teachers President Steve Monahan agrees that the new licensing rules do not go far enough.
I heard the superintendent mention school leadership, purpose and direction, instructional practice and rest. And then there is a caveat. There may include site visits. Well, if indeed there is not accreditation, perhaps they're not, and maybe, I'm just saying maybe, that word shouldn't be may site visits. There should be site visits.
We went to see the sites of Conquering Word Christian Academy's 2 current schools on a recent school day. At the main site in Marrero, students could be heard out on the playground. But the New Orleans East location, visited around lunchtime, appeared empty. We asked Trudeau about that.
Were the kids at the school in New Orleans East out of classes yesterday?
No.
A website search on Conquering Word Christian Academy turns up a Louisiana Legislative Auditor's report from April 2012. It states that Conquering Word Christian Academy, referred to as CWCA, received $162,564 in reimbursements for repair work on buildings that are not eligible for FEMA funding under the PA, that is, Public Assistance, program. The audit also finds that CWCA submitted altered documentation to support its requests for PA funding. Further, it states that under questioning, Trudeau informed auditors that the quotes, invoices, and canceled checks that CWCA submitted to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and GOSEP had been altered at her direction. The audit goes on to say that after Hurricanes Katrina and Gustav, Trudeau applied to FEMA for repairs to her schools, giving 2 different addresses in Metairie. She later admitted neither location was actually a school and that some of the invoices submitted to FEMA were faked. In early September, we asked State Superintendent John White if he was aware of this.
Well, we did have concerns, and that's why we didn't send new students to that school this year in the New Orleans area. So we have had concerns. We're continuing to monitor that with that specific school, and that's why we didn't send new students to that school this year.
Bessie member Jim Garvey represents Slidell, where Trudeau wants to open a 3rd school. We asked him if he's confident the new rules for private school licensing will uncover issues like these with Conquering Word.
But we don't know for sure. We're working on this monthly, daily, weekly. You know, the rules around the state regarding education, public, private, from A to Z have been evolving very fast in the last few months, the last few years. And we're trying to keep pace with that. But as the situation evolves, we have to evolve with it.
We also asked Principal Trudeau about the status of her problems with FEMA. She declined to respond. For the Southern Education Desk, I'm Sue Lincoln.
The State Department of Education is continuing to work on revising its private school policy. The online survey for non-accredited schools is expected to be unveiled at Bessie's meeting in either December or January.
The Southern Education Desk is a partnership among public radio and television stations across the Gulf South. We delve into a wide range of educational issues from kindergarten through 12th grade and higher ed. For more information, log on to southerneddesk.org.